Welcome back to the Talk Tonight. Disturbing new details as we get our first look at the events that unfolded last month in the northern part of Onondaga County, the night David Renz allegedly killed Lori Bresnahan and raped a 10-year-old girl near the Great Northern Mall in Clay. Today we heard about the 37-count indictment and details of how this night unfolded. Michael Benny joins us tonight for the Talk at 10, as he does every night. And going back to that night about a month ago now, I remember hearing that there was some kind of car incident out on Verplank Road, maybe carjacking. Couldn't have imagined, and didn't imagine the level of violence that was taking place to those two, the 10-year-old girl and Lori Bresnahan. It's just hard to believe that was going on and that nobody could have stopped it because there was no way to have stopped it once it was underway.
And it's so hard to believe that evil exists in a human being, that someone could do this to another person. Today we got our first glimpse at the indictment and some of the horrible details of exactly what happened that day. Many of them we haven't been able to broadcast because they are just so graphic in nature. They're in the indictment. You can read them on our website, but it's just so terrible. What we did learn today that I think was comforting was that the 10-year-old girl is doing okay for all intents and purposes. She has been through so much, but the DA said that she is strong, she's surrounded by people who love her, and they are taking good care of her.
We also know more about the facts of how this all unfolded that night, which starting with a gunpoint abduction, essentially, at Great Northern Mall.
We knew there had to have been something that would have frightened Lori Bresnahan to the point where she felt compelled to comply with someone saying, get in the car with this young girl after they came out of that gymnastics practice. But what sticks with me today is not the gory details of it. It goes back even further than that, to David Renz's past and to the child pornography that the federal prosecutors say he had on his computer and the nature of it. The district attorney today didn't just imply, he actually said that some of whether they were images or video, sort of mimicked the attack that was perpetrated on this 10-year-old girl.
Or vice versa, that Renz would have mimicked what he saw that he
was mimicking what was in these images and this video on the hard drive of his computer, which is truly sickening and shines a further spotlight on what exactly happened after his arrest on the child porn charges that ultimately led to his release with that ankle bracelet, which he managed to fool.
Well, Megan, you listened to this extensively today. John Duncan, who's the assistant U.S. attorney who addressed this issue today about what did the federal prosecutors know, what did the federal judge know back in January when Renz was in custody in their courtroom, and what did he say about it?
Well, it's interesting because if you go back to the federal detention hearing, I believe which was back in January, we had gotten a copy of those documents, and in it, the judge said, I have some reservations about letting you go because we know about this juvenile record. But to the extent of which the federal prosecutors knew what was in that juvenile record, the details of it, we're still a little bit perplexed by it because John Duncan, the U.S. attorney, said today they were sealed. We didn't know exactly what was in them. And now he's calling on state lawmakers to perhaps change the way that state law is written so that they can get access to those documents quicker.
Yeah, and we've discussed this before, that there's a reason why juvenile records are sealed, that people deserve a second chance as they get older in most cases, that they deserve that opportunity to put their youthful offense behind them and move on and lead a productive life. That's clearly not what has happened in this case. And Judge Baxter, Magistrate Baxter in the federal case, alludes in those minutes to maybe he did know what was in him, and that's what's not clear about it, that he seems to have a sense of really discomfort with letting him go because of some knowledge of what is in this juvenile record, but we don't know that for sure.
There was nothing in the transcription. There was nothing that said, "I know that in your past there has been some sexual deviance of some sort." That's not explicit in the transcript. But boy, I'd love to crawl back in time and really know what was going on.
Everybody involved in the federal case certainly would like to have taken that whole day back and done something where he would have stayed in custody and this wouldn't have happened.
And just one other quick point, the DA made it a point to say that Lori Bresnahan was a hero that night. She saved this little girl's life. There were also two passersby who were able to rescue that girl, call 911, and he's really commending their efforts.
Thank goodness. Hey, when the Talk Tonight continues, we're going to switch gears a little bit lighter topic.